Welcome to Gone Legends, where we remember the stars whose light left us, but whose legacy continues to shine. Today marks the anniversary of saying farewell to three remarkable Americans who left indelible marks across entertainment, public life, and creativity. Stick around, because each of their stories is one of brilliance, passion, and impact, and today, we honor them in full. If you're with us now, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video to keep their memory alive. Also, drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Your connection means so much. Today, we gather to honor and remember George Lester Jackson. Born on September 23, 1941, in Chicago, Illinois, George Jackson became more than just a man. He became a symbol. His short life was defined by pain, struggle, brilliance, and defiance. Though only 29 years old when he died, his name lives on as a voice for justice, resistance, and the fight against oppression. George Jackson was not just an activist and writer, he was a revolutionary thinker. Many knew him as one of the Soledad brothers, three African-American inmates whose trial drew international attention in the early 1970s. But what set George apart was his ability to transform his prison cell into a classroom, a podium, and a pulpit. His powerful words were immortalized in his collection of letters, Soledad Brother, which shook America and beyond with its raw honesty about racism, oppression, and the brutality of the prison system. Through his writings, George gave voice to the voiceless. He showed that even behind bars, the human spirit could never be truly imprisoned. His courage inspired generations of activists, writers, and freedom fighters, and his influence remains visible today in movements that demand equality and justice. But tragically, George's life was cut short. On August 21, 1971, inside San Quentin State Prison in California, George Jackson was shot and killed by prison guards during an attempted escape. His final moments were as defiant as his life. A refusal to be silenced, even in the face of death. When he fell, the world lost a brilliant mind, but his ideas became immortal. He was laid to rest at Bethel Cemetery in Mount Vernon, Illinois, after a funeral service in Oakland that drew thousands who came to pay their respects. His death, violent and untimely, became a rallying cry for those who believed in the struggle he had so passionately lived for. And so, today, August 21st, we mark the 54th anniversary of George Jackson's passing. 54 years since that day, but his legacy remains just as powerful. His writings still echo with truth. His courage still inspires those who resist oppression. His memory still demands that we continue the fight for a more just and equal world. George Lester Jackson was more than a prisoner. He was more than a revolutionary. He was a man who turned his suffering into strength, his confinement into courage, and his voice into a timeless call for freedom. May his spirit forever rest in peace. May his legacy never fade. And may we always remember him, not just as a man who died, but as a man who lived with fire, passion, and unbreakable conviction. Today, we gather to honor the life and legacy of Robert Arthur Moog, born May 23, 1934 in New York City. A brilliant engineer, inventor, and pioneer, Moog transformed the world of music with his groundbreaking electronic instruments. Most famously, the Moog synthesizer. Moog's journey began early. A curious child of a piano-teaching mother and an electronics engineering father, he was already tinkering with instruments by his teenage years. He built his very first theremin at just 14, setting the stage for a lifetime of innovation. Driven by ambition and intellect, he attained degrees from Queens College and Columbia University, then earned his Ph.D. in engineering physics from Cornell University. In 1953, he founded a Moog company with his father, beginning with kits and instruments based on the theremin. A decade later, in 1964, he introduced the world to the Moog synthesizer, the first commercial, keyboard-based electronic instrument that could turn voltage into music. His innovations, like the voltage-controlled oscillator, envelope generators, and the iconic ladder filter, opened a new sonic universe, influencing artists from Wendy Carlos's platinum-selling Switched on Bach to the Beatles, The Doors, and Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Moog humbly saw himself as a toolmaker, not a showman, and yet through his tools, musicians found new voices and audiences heard the future of sound. But his life, like so many brilliant stories, was cut short. On August 21, 2005, at age 71, Moog passed away in his home in Asheville, North Carolina, after battling a brain tumor. Today marks the 20th anniversary of his passing. His final resting place is Lou Pollock Memorial Park in Asheville, marked not by a traditional headstone, but a bench engraved with his name, birth and death dates, and the words, "Good Vibrations," a fitting tribute to a man who gave the world its electric heartbeat. Moog's spirit lives on, through the Bob Moog Foundation, established by his family, which celebrates his legacy through the Moogseum, Dr. Bob's Sound School, and archives that inspire the next generation of music creators. Today, August 21st, we remember Robert Moog not just as an inventor, but as a visionary whose inventions turned electricity into emotion, possibilities into performance, and circuitry into song. May his memory inspire you to listen closer, dream bigger, and never underestimate the power of a curious mind and a creative heart. Farewell to the man who amplified our world. Today, we pause to remember and honor the extraordinary life of Charles Ormond Eames, Jr., born on June 17, 1907, in St. Louis, Missouri. A visionary whose work defined modern design and whose creative partnership with his wife Ray reimagined the boundaries of architecture, furniture, filmmaking, and philosophy. For 71 years, Charles lived a life steeped in curiosity and innovation. Trained briefly at Washington University in St. Louis, he was drawn away by a passion for modern design that compelled him to leave formal education behind. His journey eventually led him to the Cranbrook Academy of Art, where he became head of industrial design and met Ray Kaiser, his future wife, partner, and creative soulmate. Together, Charles and Ray transformed the world of design. Their experimental work with molded plywood, initially crafted to aid soldiers during World War II, became the foundation for iconic pieces like the lounge chair wood LCW and dining chair, designs that married elegance, comfort, and practicality in ways the world had never seen. Their philosophy, "Design is for living," wasn't just a slogan. It shaped everything from furniture to architecture to film. Their most personal project, the Eames House, also known as Case Study House No. 8, was built in 1949 in Los Angeles. It stood as both a home and a workspace where everything, from the structure and furnishings to the smallest details, was infused with their ethos of blending art, function, and life as one harmonious whole. On August 21, 1978, in the city where his life began, Charles Eames passed away at the age of 71. He suffered a heart attack while on a consulting trip in St. Louis, Missouri. He was laid to rest at Calvary Cemetery in St. Louis, remembered for a legacy that endures far beyond his years. And today, August 21st, we mark the 47th anniversary of his passing. 47 years since the world lost a design pioneer whose legacy continues to inspire every chair we sit in, every space we inhabit, and every idea we dare to imagine. Charles Ormond Eames Jr. was more than a designer, architect, and filmmaker. He was a dreamer who believed design could shape how we live, think, and connect. In his creations, we find not just objects, but a celebration of humanity, thoughtful living, and the profound connection between form and life. May his memory continue to inspire. May his vision continue to shape our world. And may the beauty he created continue to remind us that design is, above all, for living. Thank you for joining us as we remember George Jackson, Charles Eames, and Robert Moog. Though they are gone, their voices, their visions, and their creations continue to inspire the world. If you found this tribute meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to keep their memories alive. And don't forget to tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing your stories. Until next time, this is Gone Legends, honoring those who shaped our world and reminding us that true legends never fade.